Bitcoin represents the most powerful technology force for conservatism in the world. And I don't know that that's fully appreciated, but Satoshi, many years ago, had this vision for sound money and sovereign money via technology, via modern cryptography, modern semiconductors, the modern internet. And that idea of giving economic power to the individual in the face of the overwhelming power of the collective, when you feel like the government's against you, the banking system against you, the currency is against you, big tech is against you, when you're the little guy, when you're struggling for freedom.
If you think the Bitcoin crash is the end, think again. Markets are in free fall, panic is spreading, and everyone is convinced the sky is falling. But here's the truth. This isn't Bitcoin's downfall, it's the setup for its next explosive surge. While fear grips the world, Bitcoin is quietly positioning itself for the ultimate comeback. MicroStrategy CEO Michael Saylor, who has been warning about this moment, is going all in. To him, Bitcoin isn't just an inflation hedge. It's the financial weapon of the future, a system built to empower individuals and break free from government and banking control. As traditional financial systems buckle under debt and corruption, Bitcoin remains the one currency that can't be manipulated, devalued, or destroyed. And while most investors are selling in fear, Robert Kiyosaki is preparing for what's next. The man who predicted the 2008 crash isn't panicking, he's doubling down. In his latest post on X, he revealed his strategy. When Bitcoin crashes, he's backing up the truck and buying even more. He knows something the average investor doesn't. When the everything bubble bursts, Bitcoin will be the fastest asset to recover, surging past all-time highs faster than anything else. Kiyosaki's plan is simple. Buy more Bitcoin, hold steady, and ride the wave of recovery. While others panic sell, he's positioning himself for the biggest financial opportunity of his career. This isn't about short-term gains, it's about long-term financial freedom. For Kiyosaki and Saylor, this crash isn't the end, it's just the beginning of Bitcoin's unstoppable rise.
Stop, you don't have time. Don't miss out this 2025 bull run. Educate yourself first ahead of the crowd. We have created the ultimate step-by-step crypto cheat guide that will guide you this bull run. Unlock the secrets of crypto and make smarter investments today. Now by clicking on the link below to get your exclusive copy just under $10.
Bitcoin represents the most powerful technology force for conservatism in the world. And I don't know that that's fully appreciated, but Satoshi, many years ago, had this vision for sound money and sovereign money via technology, via modern cryptography, modern semiconductors, the modern internet. And that idea of giving economic power to the individual in the face of the overwhelming power of the collective, when you feel like the government's against you, the banking system against you, the currency is against you, big tech is against you, when you're the little guy, when you're struggling for freedom and struggling in the face of overwhelming power, you need some advantage. And Satoshi created this network that's based on two principles. One principle is integrity, and the other principle is sovereignty. The integrity, we all know, is there'll never be more than 21 million Bitcoin, and that's enforced by millions and millions of computers and hundreds of millions of people everywhere in the world that believe it's not okay to lie, cheat, or steal. It's not okay to distort the truth. There is a truth. There is a universal common ledger that no one can tamper with, no one can corrupt. Not a nation state, not a company, not a politician. And that idea of a censorship-resistant, unstoppable version of the truth was a first in human history.
It was a first.
And then the second idea is sovereignty. It's like, well, if there is a truth, can you own it? Right? So with Bitcoin, the idea is you can own a Bitcoin and you don't have to trust a bank with it. You don't have to trust the city with it. You don't have to leave it in the custody of a big company. You can take self-custody. So we oftentimes say, what do you own? The only thing you own are your memories. Everything else in this world that you own at the pleasure of someone more powerful than you, and they can take it away from you via force. What they can't take away from you is your experience and what's in your head. And the brilliance of Satoshi was, what if we could put all of the money in the world into the heads of the people? What if what you knew was the password to unlock all of your wealth or protect it, and nobody else could take it away from you? And that's a profound shift, because what Satoshi did was gave us a network where hundreds of millions of people can own and control their economic energy in a censorship-resistant, unstoppable fashion. And that was an idea worth nothing for a year, and then it became worth $1 million, and then it became worth $1 billion, and then it became worth $10 billion, and then it became worth $100 billion. And when MicroStrategy, now Strategy, got into business about 4 years ago, it was worth $150 billion. And today it's worth $2 trillion.
And at that time you were a software company, and you saw this as an opportunity, a different opportunity.
We were a software company, and we were staring at a quick death or slow death or take a risk. And, you know, when the COVID lockdowns took place and the interest rates went to zero, we had to decide, were we going to sell the company, throw in the towel, or could we find a way out? And this is the challenge that 40 million companies in America have, which is, if you're not one of the Magnificent Seven, if you're not Apple or Google or Microsoft, how are you supposed to compete in a world where trillion-dollar companies have all the power, big banks have all the power, big government has the power? And Bitcoin offered us the way out, because if you recapitalize a company on Bitcoin, you're not slave to the bank, you're not slave to the currency, you're not slave to the local politician that tells you what you can do and how you can use your money. Instead of having the central bank take interest rates to zero and keep them there forever, right, Bitcoin gave us a 60% return every year, because the Bitcoin interest rate is set by a global decentralized system of capital flows. So my company was able to save itself when we switched from Bitcoin, from the U.S. Treasury or the bond to Bitcoin. Our market cap increased from $1 billion to $100 billion. And our enterprise value increased from $600 million to $105 billion. And we went from a $500 million company growing 0% a year, competing against a monopoly, Microsoft, where it's hopeless, to a $50 billion company growing 60% a year that's part of the digital economy. So I feel blessed, and we are very fortunate, but that really motivated me with a mission. And what I realized is Satoshi gave us a way out of our conundrum. Satoshi gave us a strategy that makes a small company big and powerful, that makes the individual more powerful than the state, that turns the power balance between the collective and the individual on its head. And the secret to that is this powerful worldwide network that puts the individual first.
Michael Saylor and Robert Kiyosaki are on the same page, and what they're saying is about to change everything. While the crypto crash has shaken the market, these two financial giants aren't running, they're doubling down on Bitcoin. Kiyosaki has been clear. This crash isn't the end, it's the start of Bitcoin's true potential. According to him, once the dust settles, Bitcoin will rise faster than any other asset. Instead of selling in fear, he's buying more, because Bitcoin isn't just another investment, it's a financial revolution. Saylor describes Bitcoin as the most powerful conservative force in the world, built on two unshakable principles: integrity and sovereignty. With only 21 million Bitcoins ever to exist, its integrity is guaranteed, immune to inflation and manipulation by governments and banks. But its real power lies in sovereignty, giving individuals total control over their wealth, free from the corrupt financial system and middlemen. Both Saylor and Kiyosaki agree. When the markets crash, Bitcoin will be the first to recover, soaring to new all-time highs while traditional assets like stocks and real estate lag behind. This crash isn't a disaster, it's an opportunity. The next financial era is being built on Bitcoin, and those who understand this are making their move now. Let's dive into more clips from the interview.
Bitcoin literally represents the conservation of energy in cyberspace. Satoshi implemented a protocol which is inherently conservative. If I send Bitcoin to you, I lose it, you have it. I can't create more. I can't lie about it. The thing that's beautiful about nature is conservation of energy. Conservative is based on natural law. It's based on the idea that if you just make something up which isn't true, you'll be punished. And the Bitcoin network represents that innate integrity and truth. So, you know, if you think about the world today, there's just an inherent force. There's a struggle between capitalism and socialism, between people that believe in freedom and free markets and those that believe in central planning and collectivism. And if I'm a socialist, I want to take away your guns and your money. And Bitcoin is money that they can't take away. Like, what freedom do you have if you have all of your money in a bank that can freeze it? What freedom do you have if you have your money embedded in a currency where someone can print 4x more of it without your approval and debase it to zero? What freedom do you have if you own real estate in a city where the mayor can put rent control on it or expropriate it, or the governor can tax it away from your family? What freedom do you have if all your wealth is in a business where the government can tell you you can't operate, shut down your pipeline, tax your employees, tax your income, regulate your product? And the answer is, you only have conditional freedom until the government changes and they just take away that freedom. And then when they take away your wealth, when they take away your economic power, they're going to starve you to death, and then you've got nothing. So Bitcoin represents putting your economic wealth in cyberspace. It's beyond the reach of the mayor, beyond the reach of the governor, beyond the reach of any nation state, beyond the reach of any other company that would do you harm. It is the first time in the history of the human race that you can bind economic energy tightly to an individual, to a family, to your company, and you don't have to ask permission to have economic wealth, to have money. And you don't have to live in fear that someone gets up on a morning and just takes it all away from you to power you down. And so if I am conservative, I want a family, I want a company, I want freedom. Well, how are you going to pay for it? And if you live in a country like Venezuela and the currency goes to zero, you're going to be begging for food next week. Wouldn't it be great if I could take the wealth of my family and put it into a network that no one can loot, no one can corrupt, and at the end of the day, I don't want to gamble my future. I don't want to take my life savings and gamble in the stock market. I don't want to take my life savings and gamble that the mayor of the city won't just take my property away from me. I actually just want to own the wealth. I want to own my money. And Bitcoin is a way for you to convert your capital into digital capital that will last 1,000 years. Your country will be, your company, your country, or your family will be wealthy for generations to follow. You don't have to live in fear. And when you don't have to live in fear, when you have economic independence, you can actually stretch your time horizon out, and you can build an institution, you can build your family, you can build a life for yourself. Where is the money headed in the future? The money's headed to cyberspace. Bitcoin is property in cyberspace. The manifest destiny of this country is to own cyberspace. And I think that President Trump understands the value of owning scarce, desirable property.
According to Michael Saylor, 40 million American businesses face intense competition from trillion-dollar corporations, powerful banks, and government influence. He believes Bitcoin offers a way out, allowing businesses to recapitalize and free themselves from dependence on traditional banks, fiat currencies, and political control. Drawing from MicroStrategy's own experience of shifting from U.S. Treasury bonds to Bitcoin, Saylor highlighted how this move significantly boosted the company's value. He emphasized Bitcoin's ability to generate a 60% annual return, driven by its decentralized structure and global monetary flow. Saylor sees Bitcoin as a revolutionary force, placing economic wealth beyond the reach of governments and centralized institutions. He describes it as a fundamental shift in power, allowing individuals to control and direct their own financial future. Advocating for economic freedom, he urges both individuals and businesses to safeguard their wealth against government overreach and central planning. In his view, Bitcoin isn't just digital currency, it's a generational store of value, designed to protect financial sovereignty and secure long-term prosperity. On social media platform X, Rich Dad Poor Dad author Robert Kiyosaki echoed concerns about an impending economic collapse. He warns that a crash of the everything bubble could shake gold, silver, Bitcoin, equities, bonds, and real estate. However, rather than fearing a Bitcoin dip, Kiyosaki sees it as an opportunity. If prices drop, he plans to buy even more, confident in Bitcoin's rapid recovery. He blames fiat money for widening wealth inequality, enriching the elite at the expense of everyday people. Calling gold, silver, and Bitcoin real money, Kiyosaki urges investors to focus on these assets to achieve financial independence. What role do you think Bitcoin will play in shaping the future of economic freedom? Share your thoughts in the comments below. For more Daily Dose Crypto news, check out these 2 awesome videos on your screen. Click now and we will see you on the next video.